Ladies and gentlemen, here is your ultimate guide to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Zombies. We're going to go over all of the systems. I'm going to explain how the maps work. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks for both of them, how to unlock Pack-a-Punch, how to get situated in the maps and progress and unlock everything. I'm going to show you how perks and augments and everything work, and I'm going to give you effective ways to unlock and attain these. So consider this your comprehensive guide for Black Ops 6 Zombies. After sticking with me through this whole video, you're going to come into this game mode on a lot better foot than if you hadn't watched it yet. But to give back to you guys for always supporting, as always, I am going to be doing a couple of giveaways of Call of Duty Black Ops 6. All you need to do to enter is just subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and comment your Twitter down below and your preferred platform to play on. So with that out of the way, let's get into explaining everything you need to know about Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Zombies. Before we jump into the game, we are going to need to take a quick look at your settings. That is always where you should begin, and obviously what we're going to do is just fine-tune your controller and or your keyboard to make sure that you're comfortable in the match, because that is going to be of the utmost importance. Now, a couple things I am going to recommend here is maybe changing your FOV up just a little bit, because on default it is pretty low, so adjusting that will help a little bit in Zombies, I think, giving you a bit more field of view. But this is where we're going to be adjusting basic things like controller sensitivity and so on. One thing you can do is go into your aim assist type and actually change this to dynamic. I actually greatly prefer this, especially if you're a bit more of an experienced player. Just the way that it aims and feels is a lot better than the standard, in my opinion. So that is something I would recommend changing. Now, I'm going to go into a deep dive on settings in a video much later, but that's outside the scope of this video. We don't really need to optimize our settings at the moment. We just need to get comfortable enough to be able to play the game. So once you've gotten your controller or mouse and keyboard situated and your graphics configured, we can finally choose a map. We're going to start with Liberty Falls today, because upon starting a brand new account, you're going to be level 1 and you will not have access to your loadouts yet until you are level 4, and you're not going to have access to augments until level 11, but I'll explain how each of these work. You're going to have a couple of default classes, and so you're just going to select one of these. Your loadout consists of a primary weapon, you'll have a field upgrade, a dedicated melee weapon, your gobblegum pack, and then lethals and tacticals. Really, the only thing that you need to focus on here are probably your weapon, field upgrade, and gobblegums. And everything else, you know, can kind of be malleable in game. You can get other stuff to replace these pieces, but for now, if you're just starting at level 1, you won't need access to loadouts, so we can ignore that for now. We'll touch on that a bit later, but let's talk about Liberty Falls, and this is certainly the easier map of the two, and I would recommend starting here if you're just trying to get your bearings and level up a little bit. So in Liberty Falls, getting Pack-a-Punch and starting the game is pretty easy. Now I'm going to show you a couple of the systems that the game is going to guide you along, and a couple cool little secrets you may not know about. But when you spawn into this room, you're going to have access to a couple of things. Obviously zombies are going to be attacking you, but you'll have a gobblegum machine in this room, you'll have an ammo box, and then you're going to see these blue laser doors. Of course, you can purchase these doors and they will move and then unlock new areas of the map. You can go essentially wherever you want, but eventually, once you get enough points, go through enough rounds, and you're going to open these doors and go all the way up this street, and then once you access this church, behind this purple door will be the Pack-a-Punch on this map. You don't need to do anything to build it, you don't need to put it together. It's pretty easy to get to, and it should only take you a handful of rounds, and so this gives you the ability to Pack-a-Punch your weapon. Now, in order to upgrade not only the Pack-a-Punch tier, but the rarity of your weapon, you're going to need to do that at an arsenal station. Arsenal stations look like this. There's a handful of them around the map, but you can go up to these and purchase a couple of different things. First of all, you can use your scrap, which is the other type of currency you have, to either upgrade the rarity of your weapon, or you can put on an alternate ammo type here. Upgrading the rarity of your weapon is very important because it just adds tons of base damage every time you go up a tier. And if you played Cold War Zombies, you might remember that there were two different versions of scrap. There was essentially green and blue, and in Black Ops 6 there has been simplified to where there is only now one kind of scrap. You don't need to worry about blue anymore, it's just all located in the green, but you can buy everything from additional rarity tiers here at the Arsenal Station to alternate ammo types and so on. Now, as you're playing Liberty Falls and going through the rounds, eventually you may notice that you get a little pop-up for a SAM site challenge, and you can go find one of these locations. They look like these giant big machines, and you can activate it to accept concept challenge, and it can be a handful of things even at the same locations. So for example, you might need to get a bunch of trap kills, you may need to get critical headshot kills. It will tell you in the left side what you need to do, and you'll be given a time limit. If you manage to complete this challenge fully, you'll be given a highest tier legendary reward in the form of a chest, and inside this chest can be all sorts of things. It can be pack-a-punch crystals, it can be ether tools to upgrade the rarity of your weapon, it can be additional scrap or essence. Basically, these rewards are awesome, especially for, you know, helping you to continue to progress. There can even be perks in there, which is amazing because perks get very expensive as you buy more of them. So now that you have access to not only the SAM site challenges, which will help you progress, you have access to Pack-a-Punch and the Arsenal Station. That should cover you as far as how to progress your weapons and get stronger in the match. Now, I would recommend your first couple of times playing zombies, try to remember where the perk locations are and get familiar with them, because the Wonder Fizz machine does not spawn on the map until round 25. At this point, you can go to a single location here on the rooftop and buy every single perk that you may or may not have. But at the same time, it's definitely advantageous to remember where the perk spots are, because you may need to go and visit them a couple of times depending on how much you're going down. But another thing that's really cool you can do in Liberty Falls is a small little Easter egg to access this vault. So in order to do this, it's going to be locked initially, but you can find 3 scraps of paper around the map, and I'm going to show you every location. There's one of them in the comic shop. If you sort of lay down here and then look under this drawer, there's going to be a post-it note with a numerical sequence, right? And you can think of 3 different inputs, 3 lines, and this tells you the value for that part on the safe. And then the second location is actually right next to the vault. This is the first number input you're going to have. Keep in mind that the numbers you have in your game are going to be different every single time. Don't just copy my numbers, because they will likely not be the same. But you can get your second one here, and then the third one is located in the bowling alley, and you need to actually shoot this beer bucket to kind of move it off, and then once that clears out, you should be able to read that third number. And so with all of these digits, you can go over to this vault, enter them in, and then it should give you access to this kind of like secret safe room. Inside of this, you're going to notice that like across the walls, there are these lockers that you can interact with, and as you're playing the game, once you start killing manglers, every once in a while, they may drop a locker key, and these have a couple of rarities: green, blue, purple, and orange. And of course, the orange being the highest tier rarity locker. And if you use that key to open one of these boxes, you can get some additional rewards. Now, I don't know exactly what all you can get out of these, but if you have a key, you may as well use it to get some extra cool stuff, either for yourself or to share with a friend. It also can be used as like a momentary AFK spot. You've got about 40 seconds inside the vault where you're completely safe from zombies, so just do with that information what you will. I think it's pretty cool. Now, if you played Cold War Zombies, a mechanic you might be used to is going to increase the amount of armor plates you can hold at the Arsenal Station, and you might be tempted to do that here, but it's different in Black Ops 6. You're actually going to need to find these on wall-buy locations. So here in Liberty Falls, you can see a location inside the comic shop. This will give you additional plates you can hold, and then there's another vest actually in the graveyard just behind the church. Additionally, you can choose to use your scrap at these tables over here, and you can craft helpful items that will be useful to you, such as self-revives. You can craft grenades, you can buy armor plates, even score streaks, and so on. You can do a lot of stuff here. Now, you will need to level up in order to be able to craft a lot of these things, so it's worth trying to get some XP before really going at this, but you can use all of your additional scrap that you're not putting towards upgrading your weapon to building some pretty cool stuff. Now, at this point, you should be properly equipped to deal with Liberty Falls. If your weapon is upgraded, you've got your armor and perks and so on. So at this point in the game, you can either choose to continue to do these SAM challenges and farm rewards and continue to progress through the rounds, or you can choose to exfil. And if you want to earn whimsical gobblegum, you're encouraged to exfil on higher rounds if possible, because you're going to get more whimsicals, per higher round that you do. Exfilling is also a little different than it is in Cold War. In this game, you still need to like run to a certain location, and there's going to be a ton of zombies chasing you, and I literally mean like too many. And you're going to get to the exfil location, which will be on this rooftop. Now, I will say it's a little bit different. You're going to want to make sure you're actually at the helicopter. I thought you just needed to be on the rooftop, so don't do what I did. Make sure you're like actually at the site by the time the timer runs out. Now, keep in mind, if you don't want to end your game, you can always save and quit. You have one save slot, so you can save your game of Liberty Falls and then go play some Terminus and then come back to this at a later time. But assuming you get a lot of XP, or you can just do this and play Liberty Falls and grind for a little bit, level up, then you should have access to augments at level 11. So let's talk about augments, how they work, and how you unlock them. By the time you have augments, you'll have access to loadouts as well, so you can customize what gun you're using here. You can change your field upgrade and switch it to a different one, assuming you're leveled up enough, and you can customize everything about your match right here. And then with augments, you can start to begin to sort of build craft, and the way this works is you're going to start by researching the stamina perk. Most likely, you have a couple of different paths you can do. You can't actually select multiple paths of different categories. So, for example, if you're researching stamina up, you can't do that at the same time as researching like dead wire or any other kind of thing. You got to do these one at a time, but the way that these work is you just go into a game and get XP. The XP will track you through this progression, and then you're going to unlock these additional bonuses along the way. So as you can see through my stamina upgrade here, I unlocked a major augment and a minor augment that can be applied to my perk. Augments are just additional bonuses that will bolster the effectiveness of your perk, your field upgrade, or your ammo mod, and so on. And these are going to be particularly useful, and these are actually what you need to do to really find like the power curve of this game. And that obviously is going to require a lot of leveling up, a lot of grinding, and some XP. So I'll have some future videos talking about how to level up fast and everything, but in this video, I just want to give you an example of how these work and how to unlock them. But starting with the stamina up augment, eventually by unlocking all of the augments for this tree, you will be given the ability to unlock other augments for, say, Juggernog, for example. Assuming you have augments for anything unlocked, that goes for perks or ammo types or field upgrades, use them. There's literally no downsides to applying augments. You just need to make sure that they're unlocked. And of course, this is going to require a pretty significant amount of grinding, but the options of what you can unlock and what augments you can go for, those will open up to you as you start to play more and unlock additional augments. So the system will just begin to open as you're interacting with it. And assuming you're working on an augment research, you can go back into a game, and let's talk about Terminus. Spawning into Terminus is a little different. You kind of just get right into the action, and immediately when you spawn, you can come over to this sort of like AMP generator, and you can activate this, and you need to defend it from zombies. You're going to notice that zombies with purple eyes are going to be targeting this machine, and you can see the health bar over here on the left side. You need to prevent that from depleting, so you just need to defend it for a handful of seconds, whatever it says on the screen, and by defending one of these, it will be 1 out of the 3 you need to do in order to turn on the power. So with the first one on, we can continue through opening the map. You're going to be guided by these sort of orange badges to the next one. Now this one is actually located at Juggernog. This is your second amp generator, and it's the same deal here. Now I'm not going to lie, if you're playing solo, these can actually be a little tricky. These aren't the easiest thing in the world, and it's quite common to fail them if you're not careful. I recommend saving field upgrades for these. They're actually worth using here if you're having a hard time, but assuming your second generator is on, we'll have one more to go, and this one's a bit farther away. You're going to need to make your way down the right side of the map and then go sort of under where this bottom part of the island is, and then eventually you're going to unlock the mines by buying this door, and you're going to push through, and eventually you'll be access to the biolab. And inside of here, in the center of the room, will be your last generator, and the game will obviously guide you towards this location. But once you make it here, same deal, turn it on, defend it from zombies, don't let it die. These don't have a ton of health, so you really got to be like on top of it. Whenever that third amp generator is fully complete, you can then jump directly into the water beneath you and go on this platform and activate the Pack-a-Punch lift. This will rise this up out of the water to the sort of bottom level, and this gives you the ability to use the Pack-a-Punch machine here. Now you can also raise the platform to get to the upper section of the map, sort of closer to where we spawned, and you can move this up and down at free will. So if you need to get down to the biolabs, you can jump on the Pack-a-Punch platform and go up or down on this. It's very good for getting around the map. Now Terminus does work the same way as Liberty Falls when it comes to progressing and upgrading your character, right? Getting perks and everything. You can do these SAM site challenges. I will say the SAM challenges in Terminus seem to be a lot harder than they are in Liberty Falls on average, so I would be careful with a few of these. They're not always exactly a walk in the park. These are a risk to go for, but if you're feeling up to it, they can be, you know, greatly rewarding. Now, another thing you can do in Liberty Falls is spawn in these tactical boats. There's a handful of locations around the map, and you can drive out into the water and go visit a couple of these islands as well as the wrecked ship site. On these are going to be some very interesting secrets that I will leave for another video, but you can explore these. You can go and fight here. There will also be like ammo boxes for you to use at your leisure. You keep in mind you can always spawn in a new tactical boat by going up to these green lights and bringing a new one in. It costs about 500, so they're not free, but they are very practical to get around with. Bear in mind, the water can be quite dangerous. there are things lurking under the surface that will try to kill you, and you can stop at any one of these islands to explore it or look for things here, and there will be plenty of stuff to discover, but I'll leave that for a different video. Now, another thing you can do, and that you'll notice that's similar to Liberty Falls, is that the locker loot keys are in here as well, but you might be thinking, well, I haven't seen a vault yet. Now, there is a way to access this on Terminus, and you actually don't need a vault, or you don't need these codes to get in it. If you go over to this door that's located very close to Stamina Up, this should just give you access to a vault that you can open immediately, and then you can do the same deal and pull out these lockers and get loot. Once again, your loot is determined by the rarity of the key that you use on it. Once again, you can keep that loot for yourself, you can share it with a friend, or you don't have to do anything with it really, but it's just nice to have at your disposal if you do need it. Now, as far as a couple of tips for Terminus, because this is a bit of a harder map than Liberty Falls, I strongly advise investing into one gun for the early game. Instead of trying to split your efforts between two different weapons, I recommend just putting all of your energy and resources into a single weapon, because that will sort of carry you through the higher rounds and allow you to fully upgrade a second weapon if you want. Parasites on this map are unironically very powerful. They're not like in Shadows of Evil where they're kind of just annoyances. They can be genuine threats here. However, a very effective way to deal with these is actually with Omni movement. If you can sidestep sprint a lot of their attacks that beam directly towards you, I've noticed this is a very effective way to avoid going down by parasites, because they are probably more dangerous than normal zombies. Now, that will give you a good understanding of Terminus, and you should be able to get to some pretty high rounds with this knowledge on both maps. Now, of course, there is going to be a main Easter egg associated with this, and for the scope of this video, we're not going to be talking about the Easter egg quests here. I'm going to have separate videos detailing how to do the Easter eggs exactly for it, and in the standard mode specifically of Easter eggs, which is what you're going to want to do, you're going to get the best rewards out of that, so stay tuned. But as you continue to play Liberty Falls and progress through Terminus, you're going to unlock more and more Gobblegum. Gobblegum will be given to you just randomly throughout the rounds as you're passing them, and it's fairly normal to get like 2 to 3 Gobblegum per match. That's pretty on average. Now, you can get more Gobblegum the higher rounds you go, and that's certainly worth investing in if you really just want to farm a lot of those. But just playing the maps, killing zombies, getting more XP, unlocking augments, trying out different builds with your loadouts, and fully upgrading all of your field upgrades and so on is the core of what you're going to be doing in Black Ops 6 alongside Easter eggs, which we will talk about very soon. However, I just wanted to give you guys an ultimate guide and an understanding of how Black Ops 6 Zombies works. I really do hope this helps, and I want to say thank you very much for your time. I hope this assisted you in any way and can make your experience playing Black Ops 6 a lot better. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more Black Ops 6 Zombies very soon, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.